Okay, good morning. You're welcome to this video. Today I will be showing you how I was able to go through this project. It's all about automating AWS infrastructure in code using Terraform. That's ISC, infrastructure as code. So I'll be going through how I was able to execute this project in this video, so you can relax and follow through. So the major steps we're going to take is that we're going to first of all create an IAM user, and then we'll generate credentials for that user. After then we will install AWS CLI, after which we will install Python and update our Boto 3. So the Boto 3 makes it easy to integrate your Python applications, your Python scripts or library into AWS. So we're gonna update it, and then we're gonna install Terraform, after which we will connect to our AWS CLI and confirm there's a connection. We can confirm there's a connection by creating an S3 bucket and see if we can see it across from the command line interface. After which we can then begin to provision our infrastructure using Terraform. So let's go. I'll show you how everything was done. So first of all, we're going to create an IAM user. To do that, go to your AWS console. When you get there, by your left, you see all the menu tabs. Click on your user. When you click on your user there, you create a user. You can see where the arrow is pointing. You create a user for your account. Then you can name it whatever name you choose. You can take the first option, which says provide user access to the AWS management console. It's optional, but if you like, you can pick it. If not, it depends on what your establishment requires for this particular user, the kind of rules, the kind of tasks and privileges that will be available to this particular user. So it depends on that. Then you can enable the auto-generate password. You can also make it custom so that the user can change his or her password and username after the account, the IAM user, has been created. But you can just take an auto-generate password. It's easier. It's more straightforward that way. Then you have to attach policies. You can see by your right here, attach policies directly. You can just take that and then give this particular user administrator access. Just search admin here and give them administrator access. So it also depends on your establishment too. Your user might not be given so much privileges. It depends on what rules this user will be giving privileges to. But then for this particular project, this is what I did. Just give the user administrator access. Then you can create your user. You can see the user was created, Terraform user. That's the name. For you to know it's actually my account, you can look at the top right there. You can see Armstrong Leeworks. So this is actually my own AWS console account. So then when you create that user, you see that it's been updated. You can see down there, Terraform user, it has been added. Beautiful. So when you create that access, let's come back here. It's going to send details. Look at this. It's going to send these details to that user. So with those details, you just click on the link provided. It will bring you here. You put in your username and password. Even at the first time, it's going to update these details for you. It's going to put your ID for you, your username that you assigned to the account, and then the password. So when you do that, it will give you this opportunity to change it. So it's good to put in a password that you will not easily forget. So this is your opportunity. So you can change your password here for your new IAM user. You can then log in. You can see by the top right, the user has changed. I'm now in the Terraform user, the IAM user we just created. We are in that new console now. So when you access this console, this is where you will now link your CLI to, and then whatever you provision with Terraform will be implemented in this console, not the master console. The master console was the Armstrong Works you saw. So this is the new IAM user we just created. So this is where it's from this user we are going to create credentials with which Terraform will be implementing infrastructure, provisioning infrastructure in this console. So let's go ahead. So the next thing we should do is to generate credentials for this new IAM user. So to do that, you just go to users by your left, just the way you did. Then you scroll down, you see where you have access keys. So you click on the create access keys. Choose the first option, which is the command line interface. That's the CLI. Choose that option, and then you can click on create. If you need to add a tag just to recognize this particular credential, you can put it there, but it's not really necessary. You can, if you want to, give it an additional naming just to recognize it. So when you're done, just create your access key. So that's your access key. You can show it and copy it if you like, or you just click on the download CSV file. Look at it by the done. You see by the done button, you will see the download CSV file. It's good to download it so that you can have it handy, and then you can show and copy from here straight up. Copy and paste in a text file, whichever way is convenient, but downloading is actually good so that you would have it like a backup. Even if you forget or misplaced where you copied it, you can always retrieve this one. The next thing is to install the AWS CLI. So what you do now is to go into your console, click on that CLI. If you notice here, AWS CLI, just search CLI in your console. Then you can, this is the instruction on how to get it installed. You can get started by clicking on this button here, get the link here, getting started, AWS CLI reference, GitHub project, community forum. Just click on the getting started. It will bring you here. So it will explain to you how you can get that done. So right by your left, click on install stroke updates. That's where you start from. Install stroke updates. You click on that. It will bring you here. So this will help you install. So the first option there is to download and run the AWS CLI MSI installer for Windows 64 bits. So if you click that link there, it's going to download a .exe file to your PC. So from there, you can double click and install. But if you want to install from your CMD, your command line interface, from your command line, you can use the second option. That one says to confirm the installation, open. Okay, that's after you, no, that first one, instead of downloading, you can just use the command here where you have the msi exe.exe. You can run it in your CMD or your GitHub, or your Git bash. I used my Git bash. You can see my Git bash terminal open here. I just ran it in my command line. That's the way I went about it. So you click, copy that command, impute it into your bash, and run it. It will install. So you can see I already ran it. See what it gave me a feedback. And then if you want to confirm if your CLI is installed, you just type AWS dash dash version, enter. If you see my git bash there in terminal, you can see it gave me positive feedbacks and telling me that there's an AWS CLI 2.15.8 version with Python 3.116. You can see Windows 10 exe and all that. If you want to really know the codes that I was typing, you can go to my GitHub account and search the repository that has this title, which is implementing infrastructure as code with Terraform. So you will see all the codes there. It's well documented in the README file. You see all the codes there. This is just an explanation of how I went about the project. But if you really want the details, you really want to see the codes that are used, you can just go straight to the GitHub repository in my GitHub account. You see the codes there. You can copy them and use them and practice also. So let's move on. The next thing we want to do now is to connect to the AWS CLI. So to do that, you have to impute those credentials you created. So to do that, you just type AWS configure and enter. It will give you opportunity to put in your access key and then the secret access key. You can see I imputed mine, and then you press enter. Then you provide the region that you want to work on, that you want whatever infrastructure you're going to be putting on now is going to be implemented in that particular region. So you have to be deliberate about this so that you won't be implementing infrastructure and you don't know it's been implemented just because you're in the wrong region. So for me, I used US East 1. You can just impute that, or you just leave the default, then go to your AWS region on your console so that you can see what is being implemented. But I was deliberate. I wanted US East 1, so I typed it in, and then for the default output format, you can just leave the JSON. Just type enter. So once you do that, you see you've logged into your AWS CLI. You can see you have accessed it. So the next thing is to install Python and update Boto 3. So to install Python, you go to the Python website, python.org, click on the download, then run the installation. I ran the installation and it's saying it's successful. So when it's successful, you can just type Python to see if your Python is on your system. Just type Python and you can see I typed Python in my command line in my terminal, git bash terminal, and it gave me positive feedback that I have Python 3.12.1. It was installed correctly. So we move on. We run the installation. So we have to update our Boto 3. Just type import Boto 3, import JSON. You run it, it's going to install it and update it. Good. So next thing we have to do now is to install Terraform. To do that, go to Terraform website, go to hashicorp.com, look for the Terraform, install. I'm using Windows 10, so look for your correct OS version and install. If you're using Linux or Mac, you look for the correct version. But I'm using Windows 10, so this is what I did. I just picked up the Windows 10 binary download, clicked on it, not the MDS, AMD64. I use the 386, but it depends on your kernel specification. So find out and then use the correct one. So you download. So that's done, is downloaded now. So what I did was to copy it and take it to my program files. Take the download file, take it to your program files, put it in the folder in your program files, then copy the Terraform path, the path where it is on your program files. You copy that path and then come to your environment variables, press your Windows key on your PC, type environment variables. Is going to bring this window. So you click on environment variables, you come to your system variables, click on the path, right click on the path, and then edit. When you edit, you now paste that path, the Terraform, where that file you downloaded, you place it in your program file if you remember. So that path, you put it here. you click on new, you paste it here, and then you OK. After you've done that, your Terraform should be working correctly. So for you to know, just type Terraform -version. When you type Terraform -version in your command line interface, your command prompt, it will show you if Terraform is on your Windows, if it's placed correctly. Like mine, it showed me that Terraform is placed correctly. You can see it there. So that's that. So we move on. It means Terraform is installed on your system. Now to check if your CLI and your Terraform is working correctly, go back to your console and create something and then look for it through your CLI. The easiest thing to create here is an S3 bucket. So just click on that S3 bucket, create one. Just click on create, go search S3 buckets, then click on create buckets. Give it a name. Make sure that the region is correct. Look up there, you can see US is 1. US is 1. That's what I used when I was setting up my CLI, remember? So make sure that you're picking the correct region. Then you name the buckets. Remember that your bucket name must be unique. Nobody must have used it across the world or in this region. So you can't repeat names. Make sure it's unique. If it's not unique, it won't even work. So give it a unique name and then create the buckets. Create the buckets. So this shows that I've created the buckets. So to check if your CLI and Terraform is working correctly, just search for that bucket. Just type AWS S3 LS. That's search for the S3 buckets on my AWS console. Look at that's what I tapped there. Just like I said earlier, if you want to know those codes exactly, just go to my GitHub account, search for that repository. You'll see everything documented in the README file. So after typing the enter, you can see it's giving me the exact name of the Terraform I created. If you remember, the Terraform S3, the S3 bucket I created, got the exact name. So my CLI is working. So now we can now begin to provision infrastructure with Terraform. So what we want to practice, okay, before we do that, let's run the installation of the Terraform providers. Let's locate the Terraform providers for AWS. Remember, it's AWS we are using, not Azure, Google Cloud. Terraform is actually functional in many other cloud providers, but we are focusing on AWS for this particular project. So you come to your Terraform website and locate your AWS provider. This is it here. If you check your bottom right here, that's the module for a VPC. If you want to provision VPC, that's it there. So I just copied that and I went to my Visual Studio Code. It's a good editor for codes, for texts. It has many other plugins that helps and make things easier. So you can consider installing it. If not, you can just use a text editor, but I would advise you use this because there are many other functionalities it has. I can also run a terminal straight from this interface. So all I do there is just go create my main manifest file. That's the main.tf. When I create that file, I paste in that module I got from the Terraform website. By the time you understand how to infrastructure code, you can actually build it up yourself. It's actually better to build it up yourself. So I tried building it up myself initially. So when I tried, this is what you got. So I tried to initialize Terraform init. I got an error, and the error was telling me some things to adjust. I tried to make those adjustments. I went closer. This is what the error told me in my personal build. So I made those adjustments. After making those adjustments, it went through. So Terraform was initiated successfully. Then I validated it and it tells me your configuration is valid. And then I continued. I have not provisioned yet. I'm still setting it up. Then I had to, like I said, initiate my Terraform. So at the point of its initiation now, because I had made those adjustments, it was successful. It was successfully initialized. Now I want to check the kind of infrastructure I want to provision. So what you do is type Terraform plan. When you type Terraform plan, it will show you the things it would provision based on your main.tf file, the contents you have specified. Look at my main.tf file. I have my provider, AWS. I have specified my region, and then I want to create a VPC. So the resource is AWS VPC this is the correct way to describe it from the Terraform website. That's how to write it, AWS_VPC. And then I gave it a name. I want it to be main. So the CIDR block, I also indicated it. And then I enabled the DNS support, and then enable DNS hostname. All those things are on the console. If you are using the graphic user interface, the console AWS, you would have to enable those things manually. So, but then through your Terraform, you can actually infrastructure it. So we went ahead, created, that's the VPC before the creation. Now I apply, Terraform apply, it was successful. This is the VPC that was created afterwards. You can see it's working. Then I added my subnets. I wanted to create more subnets and create subnets. You can see I created 2 subnets. I apply, validate. You can see subnets before created, the subnets after it was created. And then this is the Terraform apply subnet provisioning. See, my subnets were created immediately after, so it's working. Look at this, is the AWS subnets after Terraform subnets provisioning. So I had to quickly destroy and take out all those provisions. I don't need them. I just needed to show you how I was able to use Terraform to provision resources. So I typed my Terraform destroy success. See, the subnets are gone. The VPC is also gone. So well done. That was a good, successful. So what did we do? We were able to provision infrastructure using Terraform on AWS. These are the steps we took, just like we went through it at the beginning of the video. So congratulations. This is how the project went. So if you need me to do anything for you as per DevOps or cloud generally, you can just hit me up. Get my contact details from my GitHub account, or even my LinkedIn. You can reach me if you want me to get any job done for you. So till then, I'll be expecting your feedback.